Welcome in, belly up, have a seat, and grab a drink as we talk some Wingman Fantasy Football. Welcome into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the league podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. And as always, it is my great pleasure to welcome into the bar Mr. Bernie, a.k.a. Team B.
I'm Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
How are you doing tonight, Bernie?
I am doing well tonight, dry inside my house.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I want to mention to all of our viewers out there, most of our league mates live in the southeast. We have a pretty bad storm working its way up towards the Panhandle and into Georgia. I'm in the Orlando area right now. We're getting the outer bands, and it's whipping around outside, but it's heading closer to you tomorrow. Are you ready for the storm, Bernie?
Yes, I spent the afternoon and the middle of the day weatherproofing the outside for flood and wind damage.
Well, hopefully you wouldn't have to need it, but nonetheless, it's best to be prepared.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Before we get any further along, let's make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingmen assemble! All right, guys. This is episode 100. Didn't think we'd make it, but we're here. All right, guys. This is episode 100, week 4 preview, and we have another jam-packed show for you this time along as we will set the slate for the weekend's primetime games, check in on the player news and practice reports, take a look at the activity on our waiver wire. We will go over this week's matchups in the Wingman Fantasy Football League. We will see who's on top of the newest power rankings, and we'll also let you in on our starts of the week. We also have another installment of a fourth and long with Bernie, and we will close one chapter and start a new one when it comes to this week's Wingman Jam. And of course, we will dive headfirst into the mailbag. All right, guys, let's take a look at our news and notes. All right, we have a full slate of games once again as the bye weeks will start next week. So week 4 has every NFL team playing. And just like last week, there are 2 Monday night games this week. So let's set the schedule for the primetime games. On Thursday night this week, we have the Dallas Cowboys riding their way to Jersey to take on their division rivals, the New York Giants, at 8:15. On Sunday night, we have the Buffalo Bills heading down to Baltimore to take on the Ravens in what might be a playoff preview, and that game is at 8:20 p.m. And on Monday, there are 2 games once again with the Tennessee Titans making their way down to South Florida to take on the Miami Dolphins. And that's the 7:30 start time. And then the last game of the week, the Seahawks are heading to Detroit to take on the Lions, and where they're wearing their all-black unis at 8:15 p.m. The all-black unis are for the Lions, by the way, at 8:15 p.m. Any of those games catch your attention?
Yeah, I got my eye on that Seattle-Detroit game. That should be a fun game to watch. Go Detroit. But I'm going to be keeping my eye on Mr. Ken Walker and see what kind of activity we get out of him. Outside of that, also the Dolphin game on Monday night. So Monday night I'll be probably flip-flopping back and forth. I don't think I'll be out anywhere to have 2 TVs going at the same time, but we'll see how that goes.
All right, as for the Thursday night game, we had 5 players in our managers' lineups last night with Team B picking up his streaming defense.
We'll cross the streams.
Excuse me, Egon. You said crossing the streams was bad.
He picked up the New York Giants defense right before kickoff and threw him right into his lineup. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
We have Red Sox Nation had his 2 top wide receivers going as both Malik Neighbors.
You be my neighbor.
And CeeDee Lamb were in his lineup. And Amazing Spidey had his team MVP, Brandon Aubrey, kicking his way on the Thursday night game. And Cubert's Rage had the Dallas defense in his lineup. Now for some other player news and practice reports, and there is a ton. I had to edit this a lot to get it down to a manageable size. All right, we have Cooper Kupp has already been ruled out for this Sunday's matchup against the Bears. And both Joe Mixon and Dameon Pierce have yet to practice, making way for a second consecutive start for Cam Akers. Nick, pick up a running back. Sam Laporta has not practiced yet this week due to his ankle injury. Now, keep in mind that game is the last Monday night game, so he has an extra day to heal up. A.J. Brown has still not been on the practice field, looking like he may be heading towards his third consecutive missed game. Devontae Smith, who suffered a concussion in last week's game, is still in the protocol, has yet to practice, and it looks like he is trending towards being sidelined this Sunday. Jordan Love has been practicing in a limited capacity, and the Packers said they will wait until game time to make a final decision on his availability. Jaylen Warren hasn't practiced this week, but he is still listed as questionable for the contest against the Colts. We'll take a pause here real quick before we get on more player news. Any of these things catch your attention?
None of those in particular, no.
You're not worried about A.J. Brown here? Might miss his third game?
Oh, yeah. A.J. Brown, I caught my attention, but honestly, he's been sitting on my bench so long, I forgot I had him on my team.
If you want to trade him, I'm totally down. How about a Josh Jacobs or A.J. Brown trade?
Oh, no.
No. All right. Okay.
I have some takes on that situation in Green Bay. So.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, maybe we'll save that for the 2-point conversation on Sunday night. But all right. You put in there whenever you want. All right. Continuing on with our player news. Deebo Samuel did return to practice on Thursday, although at the moment he is still listed as doubtful for week 4. So keep an eye on that. That thing can go either way at this point. Ken Walker, Texas Ranger, returned to practice, but please have a backup plan ready as the Seahawks play the last game on Monday night.
Yep.
George Kittle was back at practice, and he indicates that he is excited to play in week 4. And Tyler Bidet has been signed to the 53-man roster and is looking to make a splash this week for the Broncos. Austin Eckler has been ruled out for the week this week's game against the Cardinals as he has in the concussion protocol. And Tank Dell has yet to practice this week, as now Nico Collins has popped up on the injury report later in the week with a hamstring issue. Keep checking on Nico Collins' status, as this is a bit of a red flag with a late in the week injury. Trey McBride is also in the concussion protocol and trending towards missing week 4. And I'll save it. Keenan Allen has returned to practice, trying to cut those LBs. It looks like he might make his return in week 4. All right, Bernie, how worried or excited are you about the Kenneth Walker chance to play this week?
Yeah, I'm going to keep him on the bench. I'm excited, though. If he gets in, I'm great. Charbonnet's been doing good, so I don't know if they're going to go full bore on Kenneth Walker. So I'm going to just play it tentatively and not have to stress that Monday night game.
And what do you think of that Tyler Bidet has been signed to the active roster, not just a practice squad call-up? It looks like he may start to get some work for that Denver Broncos backfield.
Yeah, I see that happening. He's definitely going to get the work. So no surprise on this end.
Oops, sorry. All right. 1.
I also have another question about Mr. Tyler Huntley. Is he going to get that week 4 start?
I don't know. They haven't ruled out Skylar Thompson. He's been practicing in a limited capacity. He's day to day. I don't think they want Thompson to start, but he's been in the learning the playbook for the last 3 years, give or take. So I don't know what they're going to do. And being Monday night, you can't count on any of these guys. I don't know what they're going to do. I think they didn't like what they saw from Skylar. Is it Thompson?
Yeah.
I don't think they liked what they saw, but they just picked up Huntley 10 days ago. So I don't know what they're going to do. If he's healthy, I think Thompson's in. I think they definitely don't want Tim Boyle. He was also picked up relatively recently. And if they have, between Boyle and Huntley, it's Huntley. Between Thompson and Huntley, it's going to come down to health.
And I saw that Lionize is reuniting that Baltimore duo. He's got Lamar Jackson, and now he picked up Huntley as his backup.
Oh, he did pick up Huntley. Okay.
Yep, he did.
Nice. Well, speaking of pickups, let's get into our waiver wire activity, as we had 7 waiver claims this week for 4 NFL players, and with 4 NFL players receiving. No, that's not right. With 2 NFL players receiving multiple bids. There we go. Pardon me.
There you go.
We had Chuba Hubbard go to Crazy Fish for $57.
You paid too much.
And the second bid was only $7, and the third bid was $6. So Fantastics at the $7 bid had just the right number to outwager Cubert's Rage for a $6 bid, but Crazy Fish wanted no doubt, as he picked up a player that he had twice last week for a whopping $57. I'm going to give him one more of these.
You paid too much.
Wow.
All right, our next player, our second highest price free waiver wire pickup this week was Aaron Rodgers. Went to Waddle Away, who got rid of Tua, who's on the IR, and there were no other bids. He could have got Aaron Rodgers for free. So it's safe to say that Waddle Away, you paid too much. Our next waiver wire claim here was the Tennessee defense. Went to Amazing Spidey for $0. And there was another bid also for $0 by Crazy Fish. But that's what you get when you're in last place. You get the waiver priority on the tiebreaker. So the Tennessee defense goes to Amazing Spidey. And Matt Prater, kicker for the Cardinals, went to the Fantastics also for $0. All right, guys. Now it's time to see who's playing who in this week's matchups.
This week's matchup.
All right. Before we actually get into the matchups, I wanted to do something I forgot to do on the last show. We had two players that are now 3-0, which means they've won 3 games in a row. And there's no guarantee you get such a streak like this. So for both Alex's They Took Our Jobs and Corey's Mac Daddy 2s, I want to give you your rolling treatment as you've won 3 in a row. You earned it. All right, now for our matchup. Starting off with Amazing Spidey in the basement of the standings at 0-3 is playing against Ben's brilliant team at 2-1 and the lowest scoring team in the league. What do you have on this game, Bernie?
Oh, wow. This is going to be a Brock Purdy, Kyler Murray matchup, I think. Amazing Spidey's got the rest of the roster on lockdown, but it looks like there is a Christian Watson and DJ Moore that need to come alive to help Ben.
All right, on to our next game. We have Nick's Waddle Away at 1-2 against Paul's Cubert Rage at 2-1. What do we have on this matchup here for this game?
Ooh, this looks like it's going to be a wide receiver shootout. We got Justin Jefferson going head-to-head with Jamar Chase. Let's see who can get that going. But also, it looks like Cubert Rage has another number 1 receiver in Godwin. Nick Waddle Away is going to have Devontae Adams. So I'm going to lean towards Cubert Rage's wide receiving core on this to take the victory.
Like I mentioned before, the news was so packed, I whittled it down a little bit. But Devontae Adams popped up on the injury report today, missing practice, maybe in a limited capacity. So just keep an eye on that as well. Those second-tier receivers, he might be losing another one, which would just sink in with what Waddle-Away's been dealing with all season with injuries after injuries.
Yeah, one more thing on this one.
Yes.
Waddle Away, just go ahead and utilize that IR spot now, please. Get a running back.
He still hasn't done that?
He still has not done that, and he's got Joe Mixon in his starting lineup.
Oh, wow. All right. Fix it. All right. Our next game is Jimerson's Red Sox Nation at 1-2 versus Katie's King George off of her first win of the season at 1-2 as well. What do you have in regards to this matchup?
I don't know how this guy does it. He just has a great draft, but Red Sox Nation, he's got CeeDee Lamb and Malik Neighbors. Unbelievable. They're both playing that Thursday night game. Katie is going to be starting from a pretty big deficit already. So good luck, Katie. But I think Red Sox Nation is going to run away with this one.
You remind me, in that 4th round of our draft, I had Kelsey and Neighbors back-to-back, and I went with Kelsey instead of Neighbors because I picked Mahomes. I thought the stack would be worth the tiebreaker. And all right, on to our next matchup here. This one's close to home for you, my friend. You are going to get up against one of the best teams in the league as Bernie's Team B.
Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
At 2-1 with a 2-game winning streak himself is up against Corey's Mac Daddy 2s, who has a 3-game winning streak. What do you have in this matchup of top contenders?
Well, I'm just going to say it right now. Corey is going to win, and obviously everything is going to be opposite because we're dealing with Corey. But Caleb Williams is going up against the Rams defense, so he's going to be a top passer this week. So good on Corey for that. I picked up the Giants defense thinking that the Dallas would be struggling. So hopefully the New York Giants could do something. It doesn't look like it. It was either picking up the Giants defense or picking up Daniel Jones. And I tried really hard not to pick up Daniel Jones. So I went with the Giants defense instead. So
do you have like some sort of like invisible fence collar whenever you go to pick up Daniel Jones? It gives you a little shock.
Yeah, I mean, and he's gonna have a good week. That's the thing, but we'll see how it goes. I still got two of my big starters on the bench, so it's okay. I'm okay if I get a loss this week. Corey's got a good team, and I'm not going to worry about that.
I like the reverse jinx there. That's great news for you. All right, on to our next player here. We have the team that has the least amount of wins up against the team with the most amount of wins, as Reggie's Lionize is trying to get his first win, while Alex's They Took Our Jobs is trying to stay undefeated, as Lionize is 0-3. Alex's They Took Our Jobs is 3-0, and this is going to be a tough one for Reggie. Is he going to start his third consecutive season at 0-4? What say you, Bernie?
Oh, this is going to be a tough one for Reggie. Derrick Henry is on They Took Our Jobs. Josh Allen is on there. So this looks like, and he's got Saquon Barkley. How did he end? Oh my gosh.
And he had the last pick of the draft. That 12th pick was money this year.
Was I just sleeping during the draft or something, man? He's got Derrick Henry. He's got Saquon Barkley. He's got Josh Allen. Unbelievable. But this is going to be a battle of the quarterbacks. Whoever has the more rushing touchdowns in this game will be the winner of this matchup. Lamar Jackson on Lionize, and They Took Our Jobs has Josh Allen. They're going head to head.
All right, let's see if these guys can get a 30 against 30 here. That's a chance for big-time quarterback play.
Yep.
All right, on to our last battle in the Wingman Fantasy Football League. We have Andrew's Crazy Fish at 2-1 on a 2-game winning streak up against Ken's The Fantastics on a 2-game losing streak. What do you have in this matchup?
Fantastics also has a very stacked team, but he has some Dolphin assets, and I am afraid for those Dolphin assets. With that unknown quarterback spot, it's risky play. They're either gooses or virtual gooses that might come up. So I'm going to lean towards Crazy Fish, but he does have Harrison Jr. that might be injured. We don't know for sure.
Oh, I haven't heard anything. Is there a little tweak for Marvin Harrison?
Yeah, it says here Marvin Harrison is got a little questionable quadricep ache and pain or something.
It's hard to say because these Wednesday, Thursday ones are the ones you kind of give these guys days off, and they have to put something down. So you're never really sure until that Friday, Saturday practice.
Exactly. So, and he's young. They heal quicker, right?
Yep. All right, guys. It is now time to check in on the updated power rankings.
Wingman Power Rankings.
All right, guys, let's look at our updated power rankings. Starting from the bottom here, we have Ben's brilliant team is still taking in the basement of the power rankings, while Lionized has fallen from 6th down to 11th. Waddle Away is staying at 10th. Crazy Fish is in 9th. That's a great place for points. Red Sox Nation has slid down to 8th. Cubert's Rage has moved up from 9th to 7th. King George, where she was 8th last week, and now she's at 6th. Spidey has fallen from 2nd to 5th. I feel better about this. They were giving me too much credit. Mac Daddy 2s has moved all the way up from 5 to 4. They Took Our Jobs stays at 3. Team B, well done, sir. You moved up from 4 to 2. And the Fantastics, a little struggling in his last 2 games. Also, Dolphins are struggling, but he is, for the second straight week, atop the power rankings. What do you have to add about these guys and how their outlooks look for the rest of the season?
Oh, well, it looks like our division is still leading towards that top end of these power rankings.
Up the top 3 of our division,
yeah. The Mac Daddy 2s is creeping up there. I think it looks good. I like what I see. Not because my team is there, but because it's getting shifted. It's getting shifted properly, I think, with the pickups that are happening, with the injuries that are happening. I think it's going the right way.
All right, guys. All right, little bit of a polarizing segment here, but we're going to give you our starts of the week. All right, let's start with the quarterback position. You want to go first, or would you like me to go?
Oh, you know what? We didn't do any pre-show.
Let me go first here because I only have one for this one. I have a couple for the other ones.
For a quarterback?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll make you pivot on the first one, and I'll pivot if I need to on the next ones. All right, we probably have the same one, I have a feeling. Kyler Murray.
Oh, he was number 2 on my list. I picked 2 for each position.
Okay, good. All right, we're going to start with Kyler Murray. I hate picking my own players, but the Arizona Cardinals are up against the Commanders, who give up the most points to the quarterback position, and they've been consistent. They've been at the top of this list in terms of giving up the most points all season long, starting with Baker Mayfield in week 1. Last week, Joe Burrow had a nice game, so we're just going to keep this going. Kyler Murray, it's pretty self-explanatory, is the start of the week at the quarterback position.
Oh, wow. Start of the week. Okay. Well, I've got one for you. Here's an oldie but a goodie. Andy Dalton.
I was thinking it.
They're at Carolina. They're playing Cincinnati. You know, Dalton played one of his best games of his career in week 3, and he'll face one of the worst pass defenses in the league in week 4. So even without Adam Thielen, Dalton should be able to lean on Deontay Johnson and supplement with throws to the running backs, the supporting cast at wide receiver and tight end. And it's pretty much like Jaden Daniels didn't really have much of a weapon other than Terry McLaurin, and he lit it up. So Dalton's a safe, high floor play if you want to avoid the risk reward profile with like a Anthony Richardson, let's say, character. So Andy Dalton's my man.
All right, very good. The Red Rifle is looking at his second consecutive strong game, according to Bernie. All right, let's go to our next position here. The running back starts of the week. Why don't you tee us off?
Ooh, here's another good one for you. An oldie but a goodie. Cam Akers. All right, at Houston, they're playing Jacksonville, okay? There was a report earlier this week that Dameon Pierce was expected to be ready for this week. But as of today, he hasn't practiced.
Right.
So Joe Mixon is even further away from playing than Pierce, and he's still in Nick's lineup. Nick, get him out of your lineup. Utilize the IR spot.
He's been ruled out, you said, right? He has an O next to his name?
Mixon? Yeah. Yeah. So Cam Akers might be available. I'm not sure. No, somebody did pick Cam Akers up.
I don't think
Nick.
so. Or maybe today.
Yeah. So we should expect another start from Akers and a much better game script than last week's blowout loss. So if anything, we should look for a lopsided home win from the Texans, which would set up Akers with more volume and scoring opportunities, especially in PPR. So making him a good flex play, RB2 option if you're in a pinch. So.
All right. I've got 2 guys here. I'm going back and forth. I was hoping you'd pick one, so it would make me have to pick. Oh man. All right. I'm going to go Zach Moss for the for the Bengals against the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
This one's a little tricky because the Panthers were giving up the most points to running backs going into last week, but after last week's game and them shutting down Zamir White, they are now the 6th. They give up the 6th most points to the position. So now the question is, are the Raiders that bad at running, or did the offensive improvements from Andy Dalton give a spark to the whole team, including their defense? I think both are true, but like I said before, the Raiders rushed the ball the least, and I don't think that's because they don't want to run it. We know their coach Antonio Pierce wants to run the ball. I think that's because they're relatively ineffective. The Bengals need to win this game. They're going to want to try and obviously dominate this game and not leave the ball in Dalton's hands the start of the week and leave it in his hands. So they're going to try and control this game. They're going to take their shots, but Zach Moss is going to pound this one. And I'm just taking my bet here that the Panthers haven't improved on defense. They just got a shot in the arm last week against a poor rushing offense. Zach Moss is my running back start of the week.
Oh, wow. Good call on that one. So just a little update here. Zach Moss is on Red Sox Nation. He is starting him. Good call there. Joe Mixon is not out. He's questionable.
Okay.
So
he hasn't practiced, but I didn't think I saw that it was ruled out, but I didn't know if I missed something.
Right. But we still have on that team, Cam Akers is available. He is a free agent. So Nick could still move one of his IR people into his IR spot and pick up Cam. Or Cubert's Rage could go ahead and pick up Cam Akers and block Nick.
That seems to be the way to go.
All right. I'll let you do wide receiver. Go ahead. You start.
Did you give your running back?
Yeah, Cam Akers.
Oh, sorry. Duh. All right, wide receiver. This one I do because of the news today. I'm going to give myself a caveat out, which I know is I'm not going to do both. Anyway, Nico Collins against the Jaguars.
Okay.
We both have Houston players. We just saw the Jaguars let Josh Allen do whatever he wanted last Monday night. The Jaguars are broken. They're either going to step up this game and save their season, or they're going to fold like the cheap tent they appear to be. I hate to call them like that, but this is a big time game for them. They got to show up or get out kind of thing. So Nico Collins has been a stud all year long, does great against his division foes. So I'm going to say Nico Collins unless he's inactive, and I'm just going to do the backup plan of Stephon Diggs. But Nico Collins is the number one receiver for the and I say Diggs because Tank Dell is injured. Not sure if he's going to play or not. So it's Collins or Diggs only if Collins does not play. So I'm taking the Houston receivers up against the Jaguars.
Oh, wow. Okay. And Mac Daddy, too, has Nico Collins in the starting lineup already, and I'm playing against him. So thank you, Michael, for confirming his correct positioning there. Okay. So I don't really want to say this one, but I have to because it kind of makes sense. So Allen Lazard, New York Jets at JetLife Stadium against Denver. So Lazard has basically been the full-time outside receiver, even while Mike Williams is ramping up. And he was the first receiver to get 3 touchdowns in the NFL this year. Fun fact. Did you hear that fact there, Michael?
He's been the outside receiver, and then I didn't hear that last.
He was the first receiver to get 3 touchdowns in the NFL this year. So he could be a good flex option this week against the Broncos, they're going to try to cancel out Wilson with Surtain, or extra attention with Surtain matching up with Williams. And we know Aaron has chemistry with Lazard, and Rodgers is starting to look like his old self again. So maybe he'll get a little kind of flash in the pan with Lazard like he used to. So
all right.
Allen Lazard on the Jets.
All right, just to review our picks, we have I have Kyler Murray at quarterback, Zach Moss at running back, and Nico Collins at wide receiver. Who's your quarterback, running back, wide receiver again?
We have Andy Dalton, Cam Akers, and Allen Lazard.
All right, guys. I like that. A good range of players. All right, guys. Now it's time for your favorite Friday morning segment and mine. It is Fourth and Long with Bernie.
Game's over. Go for it.
Oh, shit.
For Fourth and Long.
With Bernie.
That's all right. Well, all right. Welcome back, football fans. This is Bernie, and you're listening to Fourth and Long, where we tackle the most pressing issues on the NFL. Today, we're going to be blowing the whistle on a topic that's really going to get somebody in that audience like attention up, because a lot of people have been talking about this. The NFL quarterbacks who seem to have a direct line to the refs' complaint department. So now we all know that quarterbacks are the golden boys of football. They get the glory, the big contracts, and apparently they think they deserve all the calls too. So let's break down the top signal callers who can't seem to keep their grievances to themselves. Some of these will be inactive players, and some will be active players. Just a heads up here. But first up, oh, this is good. This is good. I'm going to get into this one. First up, we've got Tom Brady. Yeah, I know. Shocker, right? The GOAT might have 7 rings, but he's also got an Olympic-level talent for working the refs. Whether it's a stern word, an exasperated arm throw, or that patented Brady death stare, Tom's always ready to let the officials know when he thinks they fumbled a call. But hey, when you've been in the league longer than some of the refs, maybe you earn the right to quiz them on the rule book. Next on our list, another good one, is my favorite, Aaron Rodgers. Now, Rodgers might be known for his Hail Marys, but he's equally skilled at launching complaints downfield. With that signature smirk and head shake, Aaron always ready to engage in a spirited debate with the refs. And let's be honest, half the time he looks more like an annoyed teenager being asked to do chores. All right. Let's not forget about a guy that we actually talked about, and I got some crap from Mike about. Let's not forget about Phillip Rivers. Okay, I know he's retired now, but we can't have this conversation without mentioning the king of animated reactions. Rivers could argue a call with the intensity of a dad fighting for the last hot dog at a barbecue. His facial expressions alone deserved their own penalty flag. Okay, now shifting gears to some current players, we've got to talk about Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs superstar might be known for his no-look passes, but he's also got a knack for no-look complaints. Mahomes has this way of making his case to the refs that's as creative as his play on the field. 1 minute he's throwing a touchdown, and the next he's throwing his hands up in disbelief at a call. Then there's Joe Burrow. Joey B might be cool might be cool as a cucumber, but most of the time. But when it comes to questionable calls, he can heat up faster than a Cincinnati chili 5 away. Burrow's got this. I can hear Michael laughing in the background, and he's making me laugh. I apologize. Burrow's got this way of arguing that's part Southern charm, part are you serious right now? It's like watching a debate team captain try to reason with a stubborn umpire. Last but not least, we've got Josh Allen. The Bills gunslinger has been known to get fired up when calls don't go his way. He's got this look that says, "Are you kidding me?" That could melt the snow in Buffalo. I swear sometimes his arms go up faster than his passes. Now, I can already hear some of you yelling at your speakers, but Bernie, what about insert your team's rival QB here? Look, every quarterback in the NFL has probably had their moments with the refs. It's part of the game. These guys are competitors, and when you're in the heat of the moment, sometimes you just got to let it out. But here's the thing. Complaining to the refs rarely changes a call. If anything, it just makes you look like a sore loser. And let's be honest, nobody likes a whiner, even if they can throw a perfect spiral. So what's the takeaway here? Maybe it's time for these QBs to take a page out of the lineman's playbook. You don't see those big guys arguing every call, do you? Nah. They're too busy picking turf out of their face masks and getting ready for the next play. In the end, the best quarterbacks are the ones who can shake off a bad call and focus on the next play. After all, isn't that what we're always told about football? It's not about what just happened. It's about what you do next. So, to all you aspiring quarterbacks out there, remember, practice your spiral, study the playbook, and maybe take a class in anger management. Trust me, your teammates and the refs will thank you. That's all for this edition of Fourth and Long. This is Bernie reminding you that in football, as in life, it's not about the calls you get. It's about how you play the game. Keep your head up, your complaints to yourself, and your eyes on the end zone. Until next time, stay passionate, stay fair, and for goodness sake, leave the refs alone.
Very good, very good. Well done, sir. So I don't know. I don't want to say he was the biggest complainer when Tom Brady, I'm speaking of here, which he might have been, but he was the most effective at getting the refs to do what he wanted. He would sit down on the ground after a sack and be like, "Do you think he hit me a little late?" And the refs would be like, "I don't know. Tom thinks he got hit late. What do you think, guys?" And they throw a penalty flag 10, 15 seconds after the play was over. It was crazy.
To have two AFC East quarterbacks on here. Aaron Rodgers is now on the Jets, but he hasn't had a chance to complain while he's on the Jets. So it might be a bias list. Get in the comments. Let us know. Is it a bias list or am I pretty spot on? So thank you for listening, Mike. I appreciate the time. And I want to just say thank you for bringing me on as your little buddy, your co-host here on the show. 100 episodes is pretty awesome thing to do. So I hope I can be here. I've been here for 9 episodes now. Hopefully I can
15 or so. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully I can get another 82 with you here, buddy.
Awesome. Appreciate that. All
Yeah,
right.
buddy.
What else was I going to say next? Let's just get into the next thing here, I guess. We're going to get into our Wingman Jam.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
Wingman Jam with Bernie the Bounty Hunter and Amazing Spidey. Boom shakalaka. All right, guys. Last week we finished up our first leg of the Wingman Jam where we each picked 2 players, NFL players for their fantasy points. We picked 1 player each from round 5 of our Wingman Fantasy Football draft and 1 player from round 10 of our Wingman Fantasy Football draft. And this did not go well for one of us. And we'll figure out, you already displayed what's happening here. So I had Amari Cooper and Khalil Shakir, and they added up to 40.3 points, while Bernie picked Rashid Shaheed and Joe Mixon, who ended up being inactive, and they got 0 points. Hence, why Bernie the Bengal is wearing this mask to humiliate himself as the first round of the Wingman Jam. He is the loser, and he's taking it in stride. How do you feel about getting the loss in the first leg of the Wingman Jam?
Well, first of all, one of them was not inactive. Khalil did play. He just didn't get any points. So it was tough, you know. I thought I was going to do much better picking players, but let's go back to picking some over and unders.
Yeah, okay. So, and the way we're doing this, we're picking a couple rounds, and then we're going to finish off that section of the season with a 2 versus 2. So right now I am 1-0 in our first leg. So we're going to start all over. The slate will be clean, and we're going to pick some prop bets. We're each going to pick an NFL prop. We're each going to pick a fantasy player prop or something similar. So let's start off with, you can go first if you would like. Bengals first. Cats first.
All right, let's go. Let's do Washington at Arizona. Over and under is 50.5. What do you got there, Michael? I'm going to go, or should I present it and then you pick, or should I present it with the pick?
Either way, we're going to be all over the place.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to be risky on this one, and I'm going to go over.
So that's a big number. I'm very conservative when it comes to my picks here, so I kind of want to go under. But I have Kyler Murray as the start of the week. I hate hedging. If I believe in Kyler Murray, then I either have to not believe in Washington, or I have to think this game's going to be a super high-scoring game. Both these defenses are bad. I got to go over, too. I hate to match you here, but I think I'm going to go over and give extra support to my Kyler Murray pick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this could be easily a 28-24 game, easily. So,
that's going to have to take that to do it, but let's see if we get there. All right. That was an NFL one, right? So I'm going to do my NFL pick. We have the Denver Broncos traveling to Jersey to take on the New York Jets. And right now the Jets were favored at 7.5 points. They're minus 7.5. I think that number is just too big for me for a team that doesn't score a ton of points, although neither team scores a ton of points. And with Patrick Surtain up against Garrett Wilson here slowing down the offense, that bodes well for your Al Lazard pick. I'm going to take Denver to cover the 7.5. I think it's just too big of a spread for these types of teams.
As much as I don't want to do this, I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to roll. I think that that defense is going to really shake Bo Nix up this time. So I'm gonna take the Jets to cover this.
All right, we've got our first differential here. All right, you go ahead, pick your fantasy prop of the week.
All right, so in Yahoo right now for us, we have Anthony Richardson as the QB9 and Brock Purdy as the QB10. They are both on Ben's brilliant team. He's currently starting Brock Purdy. So let's do who will have the most fantasy points. Anthony Richardson's got a 19.62 and Brock Purdy has an 18.79. So they're right there, neck and neck. So we'll just do whoever scores the most wins. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to take Mr. Brock Purdy.
Yeah, that seems like the safe bet. Although I kind of, you know what, I may be going away from you here. Let me just talk this out real quick. Anthony Richardson is a boom bust type of player. We saw it last year where he got 2 30-point games and 2 11-point games. He's had back-to-back low scoring games. I think he might be due for a random. And these aren't matchup. He doesn't get points based on matchup. It's just he's up and down no matter what's going on. I was gonna go for the safety of Purdy. I think I'm just to go against you here. I think I'm going to go Anthony Richardson in that surprise boom game.
All right, here we go. I like it. All right, who do you got there, Michael?
All right, so we mentioned a little bit from your start of the week to our spread of the NFL game. I've got Garrett Wilson. He's right now projected to get 11.5 fantasy points. He's up against the wide receiver 1 stopper in Patrick Surtain. I think this is an easy under on the 11.5. Last week he scored about 11.5, but it took a touchdown to do it. So if he doesn't score, he's not going to come close. Under on the 11.5 points for Garrett Wilson.
I will also take the under on that as well.
All right. So
I have the same feeling as you. Surtain is a monster at the moment.
So we agree on the Wilson under. We agree on the Arizona over. We are different on the Denver Jets spread, and we are different on the Anthony Richardson, Brock Purdy fantasy points.
Yep, that's about it.
All right, guys. All right, guys. Now it is time to dive into the mailbag.
You've got mail. You've got mail. Wingman Fantasy Football.
Mailbag! All right, we've got a pretty full mailbag this week, guys, and I appreciate all the comments that have been going out there. So we're going to start off. This one comes in from Michelle. This has to do with your last fourth and long. She was saying you listed your teams that, what was the exact thing? Worst fans.
Yep.
And she mentioned in her comment during the whole thing, she was screaming one team over and over and over again. And finally, you said it at the end, the New England Patriots, she mentioned was the worst fan base out there in terms of just obnoxiousness, not worst as in like apathetic. They're obviously great fans, but the most annoying fans, I guess, might have been the way it was pphrased.
Yes.
So Michelle, agree with you on that one. I've got a little side story for this particular person. I know her pretty well. She works for a high school that is also, their mascot is the Patriots. And of course, most of these schools now actually just rip off the logos from the pro teams. So her logo is the New England Patriot logo. And when she goes to grocery stores, she's been in a line like, yeah, go Patriots. She's like, no, it's not them.
It's not them. Wow.
That was not a very good Boston accent, but nonetheless, you get the idea.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
All right.
Thank you for listening, Michelle.
Our next one comes in from Corey. Says, hey guys, love the show. Your advice this year has helped me get off to one of my best starts in my fantasy football playing career history. As he's starting off at 3-0. He says the trick is easy. Just do the opposite of what Bernie says, and it's working for him. He's 3-0. Congratulations to Corey. Thanks for watching the show. What do you have to say about this? Take the opposite of what Bernie says.
Well, I've never done this before, so I don't blame you. I am a bronze tier fantasy football player. I've only won once, and I've gotten second place once, and all the other times it's kind of middle of the road or last. So this is the first year where the knowledge has seeped into my brain, and sometimes I just get it wrong, man. I'm sorry.
Well, if you're always wrong, you're always right. That's there you go. I'm just playing with you. You're doing a great season yourself, and that's all that matters for you. Everyone else just takes the advice the best way they can handle it. All right. This one comes in from Andrew. Just started watching the show, and I have to say I've enjoyed every episode, and I can't wait for the next upload. Thank you so much, Andrew. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate the message you sent me. That was very nice. And we hope to keep coming, and we hope to improve as we go. All right, this one comes in from Bernie. Congrats on your 100th episode. Let's keep it going. All right, thanks, Bernie, for that. I appreciate the little fist pump. And so, you know what? I've got a special surprise for you guys.
Ooh.
Our YouTube channel's only been up for since about halfway through last season. We have more shows that are on the wingmanentertainment.net/podcast page. We're going to take we are going to go back. We're going to go look at our very first episode as we go back in time. Welcome to the bar. Grab a seat and have a drink as we're going to talk some Wingman Fantasy Football.
Welcome, everybody, to the very first episode of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League podcast. Glad you guys can all make it today, and we're going to just kind of go over what type of show this is going to be, the format a little bit, and what to expect going forward, as this is going to be a short little episode to get things on tape, see how it goes. Thank you for stopping by. Again, this is our first episode, just getting things on tape, seeing how it goes. We're going to be adding multitude of graphics, sound effects, more commercial breaks, and more commercials as the season goes along. Now that the draft is over and the house has been cleaned, I'm going to spend a little more time on this, and hopefully this can improve throughout the season, and we can have a little fun keeping track of our league during the season. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching this first episode of the Wingman Fantasy Football, the League podcast. All right, bye, everybody.
Wow, look how young I look. That was 2 years ago, but it looks like it was 10 years ago.
Wow, it looks like you were president or something, and you aged 40 years in 4 years.
Oh no! Oh, you're right.
No.
You're so right.
I'm totally joking. I got a question for you though.
Yeah.
Based on that clip, were you using a high 8 to get it on tape, or reel to reel?
It was a reel. I had the kids rolling it in real time. That's why some skips there. Yeah, I know. All right, guys, don't forget to check out the wingmanfantasyfootball.com/game day page, where you can get all of the inactives and actives. Check in on the news and player reports. There's some, the inactives is also right in the middle of that page, and also the Twitter feeds of prominent NFL football writers. Also on the very bottom of that, we'll have the weather for all the areas here. Does it say raining and windy in Atlanta? Nonetheless, guys, thank you so much. Go ahead and just go to wingmanfantasyfootball.com/game day to get your latest news and notes when you get ready to set your lineups. All right, guys, with that being said, I want to thank you all so very much for watching the 100th episode of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League podcast. Don't forget, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube Music. And if you want to get our video feeds or audio feeds, go to wingmanentertainment.net/podcast. Again, once you search for our audio feeds on those previous formats, just type in Wingman the League and we'll pop to the top of your search. And if you want to check out our video feeds, go to wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube. When you're over there, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, notification bell, leave in some comments so we will read those in our next mailbag segment. With that being said, guys, thank you so very much. May your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty.
And remember, we chase points on the scoreboard, but the real victory is the personal connections we forge.
Very nice. What a nice sentiment. Guys, stay safe out there. Be safe and protect your family and homes, and we will see you next time.